Wait. Before we start, just want to make sure we're clear here. While this podcast talks about sobriety, mental health, and addiction, it is not meant to replace professional medical advice. Welcome to Sisters in Sobriety.
I'm Kathleen.
And I'm Sonia.
And we're ex-sisters-in-law, brought together in marriage and bonded through our sobriety journey.
Join us as we talk sobriety, addiction, and everything in between. You're in for quite a ride. And our Substack is buzzing with amazing content, from creative mocktail recipes to insightful courses and reflective exercises. There is something for everyone. Don't miss out. It's a great way to add some extra joy and depth to your journey. Check it out. Welcome to Sisters in Sobriety and to our series, The Truth About Sober Dating, Sex, and Relationships, where we ask our guests 10 burning questions about dating. So today we have Alida. And Alida, do you want to introduce yourself and your relationship status?
Ooh, yes. So, hi, everyone. My name's Alida Flannery. I am the founder of Epiphany Recovery, and I am in a relationship with my husband. I guess I'm in a relationship.
Yeah.
And I'm married to a wonderful man.
Okay. So, Alida, do you remember your first sober date? And tell us everything.
Yes, I remember my first sober date. I was friends with a girl who was also dating at the time, not sober. And she said to me, it's a numbers game. She said, you need to do 100 dates. And I was sort of, 100 dates, that's actually ridiculous. And I agreed to 50. So when I got sober, I was married to a different person.
Yeah.
That relationship ended. And probably about a year later, I started dating. Because I'm not going to bars and I had sort of already exhausted the networking of single friends of friends of friends, I went on the apps. And I do remember my first sober date. It was an interesting experience. I think I was really lucky in the fact that the date didn't focus on drinking. We actually had been communicating a lot over text and had a few phone calls, and we ended up actually taking both of our dogs on a hike.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So there wasn't the focus on like sitting at a restaurant or sitting at a bar or, going out for dinner or lunch or meeting for coffee. It was active.
Okay.
I think that was an safe and really mindful approach on his part.
I love that. Okay. What is your go-to response when someone asks, why don't you drink?
I mean, I don't know that I have a go-to response. So I've been sober for a minute. And I think my response now at almost 13 years sober would have been very different at like 2 or 3 years sober. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
So sometimes my go-to response, depending on the person, I've had enough to drink for 10 lifetimes, decided to walk away. Sometimes I just say I'm an alcoholic.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Depending on the person. Yeah, I'll say something like, you don't want to see me drunk. Yeah.
Or if I'm on a date and it's like, you don't want to have a drink, I'm like, this date will end very
Yes. Yeah.
Having sex with someone I just met. Or sometimes I say it's in both of our interests that I'm not consuming any alcohol right now.
Yes. I love that. Okay. This one I think you and I have in common. So let's talk about flags. And so I know, had I been sober, I probably wouldn't have married my ex-husband. So and now, I'm unpacking all the flags that there were. So what is a green flag you look for now that you wouldn't have noticed before? And what is a red flag? So if you feel like that you would have ignored before, that's a
So
deal.
for sober, what's a green flag? And in act.
No, sober, what's a red flag and what's a green flag?
Oh, I've got such a good story. So in part of my the 100 dates that my friend Christine suggested I do, I negotiated down to 50.
Yeah.
And I ended up actually meeting my now husband on date 13. But around date number 4, I went out with a guy a bit older than me at the time. Let's say he was mid 50s. And we met at a restaurant. And before I met anyone on any date, I was very clear that I was sober and that I didn't drink.
Yep,
Like,
me
I
too.
put that right out there, right? Uh, and we got talking about friends and what we do on the weekend, et cetera, et cetera. And he was like, I only really do coke like once or twice a month. But it's just social and it's just for fun. And I was sort of like,
Red flag.
red flag. And also, uh, I said, like, that's totally your choice. I'm not judging that at all. But like, this is not a fit. And I took his $50 and I put it down on the table and I said, like, I'm not going to stay. I wish you a good evening.
Yeah.
And all the best in your journey. So
Yeah. That would have been fine for me 10 years ago if someone said that. It would have been preferable.
like,
Yeah.
and so, red flag now is illegal drug use. I do work in a space where,
Yeah.
there's not judgment there, but they're not a good fit for a partner and my lifestyle.
Yeah. Okay. Green flag.
Green flag.
My green flags have changed a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, green flag back then was you have a penis and you think I'm pretty and so give me attention.
Yeah.
We're good. Like,
Yeah.
like those my standards were so low, right?
Yeah. Mine too.
Green flag now,
Yeah.
because I'm not dating, but green flag for my husband was when we met, it was all green flags. Green flag was really the way in which I put everything out there and he listened and he asked questions from a place of curiosity, not from a place of judgment.
Yeah.
So for me, that's a huge green flag. And also green flag now is I don't want to be with someone who is a problematic drinker.
Yeah.
And I know what that looks like.
Yeah.
So my husband is what they call a normie.
Mhm.
Like he drinks and he doesn't have to drink. And some Friday nights I'll say, "Can I get you a beer?" And he'll be like, "I don't feel like drinking." And still I kind of like, wow, it's Friday.
Yeah.
Uh,
Actually, that brings me to my next question, which is how much are you comfortable with your date or partner drinking? Like, what are your limits? I literally have like a 2-drink maximum. Like, if we're at dinner and you order more than 2 drinks, like, we're not going to be compatible. So, do you have that or is it more like a feeling?
So when I was dating, my biggest thing now, and again, I met my now husband at 5 years sober. So I wasn't in the early recovery stage. Like I could get life insurance.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, if someone was getting sloppy or their personality was changing.
Oh, yeah.
But also, like, there's a sensitivity around people who are alcohol free and people who are in recovery. So sometimes that can feel a little bit different, right? Like someone who's alcohol free, it's more of a choice. There isn't a history of dependence. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if I arrive on a date and someone's already 2 drinks in and they're going through drinks nonstop, to me, that's going to be copacetic.
Yeah.
I'm looking for someone when I'm dating who has a healthy relationship with alcohol and who doesn't need alcohol to move through life.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it. What is your go-to sober date activity? And what do you do if what did you do when someone wanted to meet for a drink?
Well, again, because I was like app based, right? Like
Yeah.
I think the app I was on was like it was Bumble. You could like check like non-drinker,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And then in my description, I wrote like 5 years sober, right? And I used the word sober just to be like just to give it some gravitas, if you will.
Yes. Like there's no ambiguity. Like it's not like I'll have a drink sometimes. It's like I'm sober. Like I'm never, ever I'm going to try for the rest of my life to never drink. Yeah.
Yeah. So like my go-to activities, if it, you know, possible, would be to do something outside and something where you're not like, sitting in a movie theater, somewhere where you can actually chat with someone.
Yeah.
The dog walk was always great for me because the dogs get tired and I can make it about the dog if I need to bail.
Yeah.
And like if someone says, let's go for a drink, I would assume that they've already seen my profile because I was on the app. And so it's sort of like, A, did you pay attention?
Yeah.
B, chances are that we've already had some text conversations or maybe a phone call before we decide that we're going to meet up like in real life. And so to me, it would be very odd if the suggestion was then made, let's go for a drink. Like,
Yeah.
I'm happy to go for a drink and have a mocktail. But I'd rather not meet someone for the first time with the focus being on alcohol.
Yeah. I totally agree. Okay. What is your advice for someone who's going on their first date without a drink?
Oh my gosh, there's so much. And I'm trying to make my answers concise.
No.
Like, I think the number one thing is don't have the date focus on alcohol, right? That
Yeah.
might sound repetitive, but if you're going to a bar or a restaurant, you want to kind of mitigate risk, right?
Mhm.
And I'm hoping that if someone would rather be in a situation where they're not surrounded by alcohol, that they discuss that beforehand. I
Mhm.
would hope, right? One would hope, but maybe you just say, hey, let's meet up for lunch, and the person you're on the
Yeah.
date with is a heavy drinker.
Yeah, I think lunch is like actually a really good like litmus test because someone who's drinking at lunch, it's like we may not be
Kids do.
compatible. Yeah, every lunch. Like so that is something I would definitely think twice about someone who ordered like a beer at lunch or a glass of wine. Yeah.
And here's the thing, right? Like, I try hard now not to judge that.
Mhm.
So many people, when you're really nervous, the alcohol takes the
I
edge,
know.
right? And so if you can come from a place of like, it may not be a good fit if the person you're on the date with orders a drink at lunch. It may also be that they're nervous. For me, it's the second drink at lunch,
Yeah.
right? Like that's a deal breaker.
Yeah.
They're like, dude, you're going back to work. What's going on?
Yeah. Okay. Who do you call or who did you call after a first date to dish or who do you vent to when you have a fight with your partner?
I mean, I have a group of some really, really fabulous friends um, in my kind of like recovery community. Like I have a lot of really great sober friends who sort of, especially when I was dating, understand the nuance of
Mhm.
sober dating a little bit more than someone who hasn't been through it. So I think it's important, like whenever I'm venting about something that's going on when I was in the dating world or with my partner, it's someone who I can feel seen and heard by.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah. I
Yeah.
think it's important, and I think it's also like kind of fun. Like when I started that dating, and my friend who challenged me to 100 date, like she lived 2 doors down in my condo building. So we'd get together because we were both dating, and it was kind of fun to be like, oh, you think that's bad? Let me tell you about last Friday.
Yeah.
We kind of traded stories.
I'm lucky I have people that will notice things that I don't notice. Like, so I went out with someone on a few dates and I must have said like, oh, he ordered a martini and then he ordered another martini. And like, I remember my sister-in-law called me back and said, I don't think this is like the right guy. In my mind, I was like, well, I guess he ordered 2 drinks, but she's like, a martini is not 2 drinks. And I was like, oh, you're right. Yeah. This guy had like 6 drinks. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, that's good to have someone to give that perspective because, like you
Yeah.
said, we don't always see it.
Okay. If your love life had a playlist, what's the first track?
Maybe nautical disaster.
Oh, thank God. The tragically hit.
Like, I mean, again, I didn't get these questions ahead of time, so like that.
No, you didn't.
Like
That's a good one.
my love life was a mess for a really long
Yeah.
time. I got sober at 35, and I kind of started dating when I was 36.
Yeah.
It wasn't pretty, and I bumped up a lot of, against a lot of things that maybe if I had the knowledge I have now, I wouldn't have bumped up against.
Yes. No, I get that. Yeah. I think so I had never dated sober because I got married. Like I was with my ex from when I was like 25. And so I didn't date sober until like 40 something, 44. And it was really shitty. It was uncomfortable. There was a lot of disasters. There's a lot of things that had I been drinking, I wouldn't have been like as annoyed or as like, oh, this is not going to work. Like I would have just like glossed over. Okay. Fill in the blank.
Oh no.
I used to think love was blank. Now I know it's blank.
Mm.
I actually think you answered this sort of, but go ahead.
Oh geez. I used to think love was. Now I think love is the dead airspace.
No, take your time.
Like I used to think love was like rainbows and butterflies and
Yeah.
excitement and parties and kind of. I used to think love was all about the outside, and now I know it's all about the inside. Does that?
I love that. Yeah. It takes a while to figure that out. I'm still figuring that out. Yeah.
I might even say, Sonia, I used to think love was fireworks, and now I think love is feeling like you're home.
Yeah. And safe.
Yes.
Oh my God, Alida, I'm getting emotional. Well, thank you so much for answering my 10 invasive questions.
My pleasure. I haven't thought about some of that stuff in a long time. Being sober and dating is tricky. The best advice I was given was to, stand in your own integrity and don't waver, because we all have like a finite amount of energy. And when we're giving our energy out to someone, we want to make sure that there's potential there, right?
Yeah, I agree. Okay, thank you. I'm going to
So nice.
stop recording.